What's up, Gear Mortals? Trey Xavier here. On today's edition of Gear Gods Quality Control, we're going to be taking a look at the brand new Ernie Ball Music Man Sabre guitar. Most guitar players play a certain style of music, and they pick their weapon based on that, on whatever kind of genre or type of music they like to play. They're a rock guitar player, they're a metal guitarist, they're a blues guitar player, whatever. But sometimes I find that the guitar sort of picks the music that you're gonna play on it when you pick it up. You can wrestle with any kind of guitar to get basically any style out of it, but sometimes you pick up a guitar and a mood just kind of comes over you. When I first picked up the Sabre, there was a sound that was calling to me. It was sort of this mid-gain, very ambient, I don't even really know how to describe it, but it's basically the sound that you just heard. And everything I play on this guitar kind of comes out like that. I am not what you might call a top-notch improviser. I like to jam around now and again, but everything I play on this guitar just seems to feel so tasty. I've been honestly kind of struggling to figure out how to describe this guitar to you because I can't really figure it out myself. It's obviously kind of Strat-like, but it's got the dual humbuckers. As far as I know, there is not a single coil version available. So it's not really a Strat. It's obviously not like a Les Paul. So it's got this Akume body, which I've never heard of that kind of wood before, so I looked it up. And it is a type of mahogany, I guess. And then of course we've got this big old thick maple top, and those two things combined together kind of scream Les Paul, but obviously it's not that. It's neither Strat nor Les Paul. It doesn't have to be either one, of course. It's kind of got this like a little column A, a little column B sort of vibes, but really what we need to do is judge it on its own merits, which is that it's a Sabre. This is really not intended to be a metal guitar, which was probably a mistake for them to send it to me, but just like anything else, you can make it make metal sounds. We're gonna do that in a little bit. But you know, it doesn't really scream metal. It does not have a particularly thin neck, although it's not really that thick either. It's very, very comfortable. The fretboard is wider than most Ernie Ball necks that I really like a lot, just to give me a little more space in between the strings. It's only got 22 frets. It doesn't have like crazy good access to those upper frets, but what this guitar does not lack is mojo. Playing this guitar puts me in a mood, in a serious mood. I don't really honestly have the words to describe it to you, but it makes me feel feelings. I feel feelsy. This guitar is just so fucking classy. I feel like it's too classy for me. It's got so many things that I don't usually go for. But I just really, really like it. I have enjoyed playing it every second that it has been in my possession. That's not rare for Ernie Ball guitars for me. I've played many of them, and I'm never, ever disappointed. This one is just a completely different experience. Most of the ones that I've played, with the exception of the St. Vincent, have been more sort of rock and metal oriented, mostly the Petrucci ones, but this one has just such a completely different vibe for me. I really don't want to send it back, and I don't really know what to do with these feelings that I'm feeling. Everything I play feels so tasty, and that's pretty rare for me. Nothing I play is ever very particularly tasteful, but I want to play so many super tasty things on this that I feel like I would be disappointing the guitar if something I played wasn't tasty. I think that sums up my feelings on the matter. Anyway, instead of blathering on and on about my feelings about the guitar, how about I just play it so you can hear what it sounds like. Here's the bridge position. Here's the in between the position 2. Here is the middle position. Here is position 4? 4. And the neck pickup. I should probably demonstrate some like clean and very heavy sounds for you on this, but honestly, I just want to keep playing this. This really nice low gain sound. For you, I'll do it. I am tearing myself away from this sound, okay? Here we go. So like it still sounds good, but I had to crank up the gain on my usual rhythm patch to get it to sound heavy enough to be passable. So it'll metal for sure, just needs a little bit of extra gain, needs a little more help. All right, let's see what kind of screaming lead sounds we can get out of it. Here's the bridge pickup. Here's the neck. Here it is in the middle. All right, and then let's try the ones that you don't really use for lead all that much, unless you're between the buried and me. Position 2. And then position 4. So, as I've clearly demonstrated here, it can definitely shred if that's what you're trying to do, as long as you don't need 24 frets. All right, let's get some clean sounds out of it. This is the bridge pickup. Here's position 2. Here's the middle position. Here's position 4. Finally, here's the neck. These pickups are extremely low output. They're not hot pickups at all. If I wanted to play heavy music with this, I would have to turn up the gain on all of my patches because there's just not that much output to them, which actually can sound really cool if you have sort of lower output pickups through a heavy sound. It can actually be really nicely defined and not so compressed. So that brings me to the bridge, which is this Music Man modern tremolo, although it's sort of more a vintage style in that it is not a floating tremolo. It's like a one-way, you can only go down, you can't pull up style of tremolo, which is not really my jam in general, although it is way, way easier to set up and tune your guitar with this because when there's not a ton of tension on it, it's just sitting against the body of the guitar, which makes it just so much easier to set up than a floating bridge. Of course, the trade-off is that it is somewhat less expressive. You can only go down. But in conjunction with bending the strings with your finger, where you can only go up, you can do basically everything. And it is extremely smooth, and so far it has stayed in tune very, very well. This guitar has some very beautiful wood on it, has a really nice flame maple top. This is a rosewood fingerboard, and normally I do not like rosewood. I don't hate it, but if I can get something else, I'm gonna. This is a really nice piece of rosewood. It's got this kind of nice reddish hue to it. It's not like a boring brown, sort of bland piece of rosewood that, I don't know, I guess a more typical guitar would have. And then over here, flame maple neck. Why does that look so good? Really love a flame maple neck. Sometimes if you have an unfinished piece of flame maple, it doesn't really pop that well. And of course, one of my favorite things about Ernie Ball guitars is that they have unfinished necks that are like gun stock oil or whatever. But aside from that, it's basically unfinished, or like wax, I guess. But this one pops. Same look on the headstock. And then this maple top is thick as hell. This is a friggin' looker of a guitar. It's a stunner. I guess we'll never know what a Kume actually looks like because the back is all finished black, but it's not heavy at all. This is a very light guitar, considering that it's in the mahogany family. Every tree is different. They don't conform to our standards of what a tree should weigh. They just grow in the ground, and then you cut them down, and it weighs what it weighs. Very comfy in pretty much every regard. Not really any fancy switching going on this guitar. These are not coil taps or coil splits of any kind. It's just a 5-way switch, 5 different sounds. That's that. Having this guitar to play for the last month or so has been an absolute joy. I'm going to be very sad to have to send it back to Ernie Ball, but I'm also excited for the next person who's gonna get to play this guitar to be able to experience the same nice, just feeling of wanting to play guitar so much more that I experienced while playing the Sabre. Really, you could bring this guitar to just about any gig. This is the kind of guitar that's gonna fit in great if you're playing a wedding or a bar mitzvah. You could play it in a rock band. You could play metal or like punk or whatever. It feels way too classy to be on a stage of any sort like that. I mean, I'm not your dad. I can't tell you what to do. I don't know what kind of music you play. It's just great. This is a great guitar. You could probably tell from the tone of my voice that I'm like weirded out a little bit by the way that I feel about this guitar, because I am. But wow, really top notch. As all Ernie Ball Music Man guitars are, extraordinarily well made. They're always set up to kill immediately when you pick it up. The Sabre is pretty expensive, even as Music Man guitars go. For not having like a ton of features, it's, you know, in the like low 3,000s, I think. Pretty expensive guitar, but if it's your style, like if this is something that you would play, I guarantee you that it is absolutely worth every penny because it is a straight up mojo machine. I think if you're expecting a shred vessel, you might be a little bit disappointed, but as I demonstrated, it will also kind of do that. Pretty much everything else, it's going to kill. It's just gonna absolutely kill. So thanks so much for watching, guys. I wanted to let you know that I recently released the second installment in my Relationships guitar lesson series. The first one was all about learning all of the 3-note per string scales on the guitar in a 1-hour lesson. This one, Relationships 2, is all about learning every interval on the guitar in a 1-hour lesson. You're gonna learn every single different kind of interval and all of the different ways that you can play them on the guitar. So there's a link in the description below if that's something that interests you. And If you haven't already, as always, mash that subscribe button, smack the bell to join the notification squad. Leave me a like and drop a comment in the comments section letting me know what you thought of this super, super fucking classy guitar and whether or not you think it's too classy for me, a dirtbag. I want to know, and I'll see you real soon.